The Masked Menace, the Web-Headed War Criminal, the Scarlet Swinger, Underoos, amazing, spectacular, superior, ultimate, glorious, stupendous, whatever other adjective they like to use as their flavor name of the week, Spider-Man has almost as many nicknames as he does enemies, and I'm very glad that Morbius is not in this video game. I swear to God, if he's in Spider-Man 2 because of all the godforsaken Morbin time memes, I will literally cry. But nobody cares about that, not even me at this point. What you do care about is seeing if this challenge can be done. Let's give it a go. Yes, I know friendly neighborhood difficulty exists and that you physically cannot die on that mode, but that difficulty is stupid, it would make the game boring, and I desire to rip everybody apart on the hardest difficulty. No, I don't have ultimate difficulty. I haven't beaten the game yet on PS5. Why do you think we're doing this? I like to torture myself in video games and make the lives of NPCs everywhere an absolute living hell. I question the sanity of a man who writes on a pink sticky note, "Mail JJJ dozen roses from quote-unquote secret admirer." I'm sorry, what? I don't know of the antics this man has been up to leading up to the beginning of this game, but mailing Mr. J. Jonah Jameson virtually anything short of a Spider-Man suit is waste of good postage. Wilson Fisk's escapades were never-ending and a surefire way to get Peter Parker out of bed in the morning, but unless he had a really good lawyer, things were gonna go nowhere. Seeing as though he struggles to pay rent every month, who isn't these days, he should stick to beating up jackasses in the streets. Now I'm sad because I reminded myself of inflating prices across the board. We are never seeing 50-cent Wendy's Frosties ever again, and I don't think I can handle that, especially with strawberry Frosties being the new thing right now. The peculiar thing about the various combat sequences scattered throughout the fictitious Manhattan is that your health automatically regenerates between most cutscenes. I say most because the consistency of this feature is shoddy at best. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's like trying to use Reddit's video player. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Who am I trying to kid here? Reddit's video player never works. If you want to make the argument that this feature disqualifies any integrity to this challenge, then you're probably the guy who got ratioed on Twitter yesterday for having such a opinion. This is where you zip it. Alright, the adult is talking. It's too bad Willie threw away so much money for me to get some combat experience under my belt. It's barely morning and I'm already conducting a heist for the worst crime boss in New York City. After being an absolute badass and my wireless controller battery being an absolute buzzkill, it was time to give Willie here his just desserts. I hate that I only hear Thor in this man's voice, not a genuine original Fisk.
How is this happening?
He needs to honestly share his workout regimen. He just threw a 170-pound man straight through a wall with minimal effort. Though when push came to shove, Fisky here just felt like a glorified brute who had way too much health. He got a punch or two in, I got many more punches in. My own headcanon stated that there was a verbal agreement between them the day before that whoever got the least amount of punches in got arrested and sent to Rikers Island. Seeing Peter Parker and Otto Octavius be lab partners for their college science project feels weird, but I'll allow it. I'm man enough to admit that I turned on the auto skip function in the settings to skip these puzzles that really don't mean much and only serve to add time to the overall story. The cops' main database was breached and all their precious Oscorp towers went offline. Best Girl Yuri here requested I bring them all back online, and who's gonna say no to Best Girl Yuri? There were several in each district in the city, so it was on to fixing all of those. While swinging willy-nilly performing reckless acts of violence, as Jameson puts it, I got sick and tired of seeing my suit all torn up, so I practiced my sewing skills a little bit. Automatic himself was ever so gracious to design me a new suit, or rather 10 new suits if my inventory is anything to go by. The towers were all eventually brought back online, and a Fisk hideout was revealed to me, and who am I to deny any opportunities to beat both sets of cheeks on the guys who probably were the bullies in middle school. You probably don't know this about me, but I consider violence to be very, very fun. I promise I was not the bully in middle school. It's hard to tell based off of what's happening on the screen right now. I actually don't see what's happening while recording these, but it's probably something horrific, so I'm okay with it. I'm not even mad about the fact that some no-name troglodytes broke into Willie's closet in hopes of finding his secret Oreo stash. What I am mad about are these missions involving you, the player, playing as MJ or Miles every like 3 missions or so. And no, the Clan Shimura armor referencing my Ghost of Tsushima Stone Stance challenge doesn't make it any better. I truly meant one life in this challenge, and if I f it up as any character I play, then it's game over and the challenge is done. Luckily, I've played enough of this game over the years to not screw up playing the most redundant missions. I just pray that Spider-Man 2 gets rid of these. Insert poser 1, who attempts to be menacing by wielding a scythe made of metal, pointy, and gray. This mask is freaky. The night seems to never end. First we have dinner with Peter's ex, the obligatory Stan Lee cameo, rest in peace to the legend himself, and now more reckless acts of violence are being committed that I'm sure Jameson will pin as my fault later. Shocker here, the representative of the D-tier villains club robbed a small business in the middle of the night, and you do not rob small businesses in the middle of the night. You're supposed to have manners and shit, and Herman Schultz is just so damn rude tonight. Swinging through the streets trying to catch him made me realize how intense these swinging combat sequences were, and I feared for my life on multiple occasions throughout this chase. But with the power of friendship, anime, and the video game protagonist, that's me by the way, we chased him all throughout the night. I even lost him for most of the morning until best girl Yuri rang me and disclosed he was at the bank. Whether he was there to take out a loan for Pokemon cards or collect his direct deposit in the most literal sense imaginable, he is a dumbass after all. I can relate. It didn't matter much to me as I desired to tattoo his face with my fists. To be fair, I almost lost this challenge as he got me down to 1% health, but to make sure I won, I blew the roof off this building, and of course gravity always wins. Something I'm reminded of each and every day. I established my dominance, the bank gets a nice payday from the insurance companies, insert catchy line from whichever one you desire here, and I'm still struggling to pay rent after all of this. They should be handing Spider-Man his own house with a personal butler at no extra charge to the man underneath. But governments, Wall Street, and the IRS are just a steaming pile of bullshit. The demons, those are the fools with the goofy but awesome looking masks we fought earlier, were raiding Fisk hideouts, and I wanted part of the fun. I do enjoy a good stealth mission, which ultimately ended in violence. Somebody ended up calling the cops, I guess, and they only sent one officer to face the entire violent stealth mission I just finished. His name is Officer Jefferson Davis, although he goes by Chad on the weekends. Check out this clip of me failing a basic 7-foot jump and Chad Davis up there clearing it with room to spare. My masculinity has never felt so threatened. It's not often that Spider-Man gets a partner in combat. Usually I'm the one in 21 versus 1. It didn't last long as gun running is clearly a great gig in New York. Why do you think Spider-Man stops all these guys? Officer Chad Davis came in like an RKO out of nowhere, proving he lives up to the hype and doing a much better job than some others I've seen around the country that speaks American. A night of getting evicted, chasing my trash belongings all over Manhattan, and borrowing money from Aunt May sent the embarrassment feelings through the roof, and I don't want to talk about it. To prove that I'm not a failure at life, but more importantly video games, I partnered up with Wilson Fisk of all people to save his gang of carnies from an even bigger gang of carnies. That didn't mean I had to be merciful. As far as anybody knows, I sent that guy to the great big construction site in the sky, and he was never seen again. This sequence right here gives a whole new meaning to the good old-fashioned helicopter. A big, long, foreign object swinging back and forth carefree in the wind was probably not on the agenda for Peter Parker today, but this is the situation he found himself in, and he needs to clean up the mess. I should point out that if a failed QuickTime event fails the mission, the challenge is over. Though if you're failing QTEs when you're playing as the video game protagonist, then you should probably just go touch grass at that point. Chad Davis got an award for doing a good deed, and congratulations to him, though I must have missed the memo on the pyrotechnics going off all around us. Usually this is the part of the video where I say I like blowing shit up, but this is not the time to say it, so I'll do it later. There's gotta be something better along the way. Davis was dead. That was not very becoming. I didn't even get the chance to press F to pay my respects, but I suppose that's okay since the PC version isn't out yet at the time of this recording. Mr. Martin Lee was guilty and apparently has the power to bring out the negative part of everyone he chooses. And after I discovered it was his doing that killed my man Chad, I willingly accepted the negative part of myself and was ready to rip some fools apart. Consolidated shipping proved to be the testing ground of the new, and I discovered that I really like performing flippy shit. It gets the serotonin in my brain to happy levels, especially against Whiplash Light here. Silver Sable, in all her 4K greatness, leaped out of a helicopter, practicing her marksmanship skills and landing without injury. If I leaped off my bed like that, chances are at least 2 of the toes on my left foot would be broken because that's just my luck with life. Tombstone is a crazy and invincible son of a bitch that I luckily didn't have to deal with in one-on-one combat, purely because I had to go through another one of those godforsaken helpless missions is what I'm calling them now. I'm just glad that this Mary Jane doesn't suck like in the original Spider-Man Raimi trilogy. Newsflash, it's an opinion, and if you don't like it and you feel the urge to say something about it, Go take a shower instead. You probably need one. Hell, I need one if I'm being honest. Peter Parker, the man who never once enjoys a date without swinging willy-nilly to deal with something the cops should be trained for. At least he makes a mean chicken curry. This place revolved around a rescue mission for some corporate rich guy working for Mayor Osborn. Nobody tell him I intentionally destroyed the place because I find violence to be very, very fun. Some things happened. I webbed a couple of fools to walls for the cops as a personal favor from Yuri, and then the rescuee fell down the elevator trying to escape from gunfire. Should I make it obvious that this fall is not even theoretically possible because of how long it went on for? I mean, we saved the guy, but we honestly should have went splat about 5 to 10 seconds before this sequence ended. I got a nice selfie shot that's going on Spider-Man's Twitter and Instagram because it makes me very happy for some reason. This new suit is metal as too. Plus, it seemed like a good a time as any to walk around a costume party because Spider-Man really likes Halloween. Mr. Martin Lee touched himself and brought out the most negative portion of his anatomy and walked away, but Spider-Man always brings the bad guys to justice, and always doing so in the most violent way possible. Unfortunately, he touched a lot of other people and brought out their negative feelings and emotions, including Rhino Jr. here, who I'm pretty sure now has a mild concussion. Spider-Man is the hero, ladies and gentlemen. Norman Osborn has been a very naughty boy recently, and all I need is proof so I can write his name on the not good boy list. Though because rich people are rich people, they managed to hide their shit very well. I scaled Oscorp Tower in hopes of shutting down their defenses and managing to avoid sniper fire, drones, and even a helicopter. I logged into his computer, his password was literally password, and I found a lot of illicit shit on Norman's search history. I can't even begin to explain what was on there, lest my entire YouTube channel be shut down. All I'll say is that he clearly has no idea incognito mode exists. Another MJ mission equates to another day in hell. Sneaking past Sable security is excruciatingly monotonous. The only thing that's different now as compared to Tombstone's underground dojo is the layout, and those funny mechanisms that Peter gave her to make NPCs act more like NPCs. MJ wasn't happy that I rescued her, and I was on my own for the foreseeable future. I can personally relate to this fact so much right now. This is completely unrelated to what I'm doing, but I got some chuckles watching the owner of Devil's Breath just phase right through the car door and passenger seat. Clearly he's been getting intangibility training from Kitty Pryde. My nemesis Martin Lee wanted that red vial called Devil's Breath and was willing to do anything to get it. I had to look to Andrew Garfield for inspiration because Tobey Maguire got me in all sorts of trouble with MJ. I'm talking about their suits in case you didn't already know. Stopping this megalodon of a truck is apparently impossible, especially with Martin Lee riding shotgun and teleporting me into the 5th dimension. He had a bunch of rats he needed exterminating and forced me to clean them out until nothing was left. Even doing the job, he left me a bad review on Google, so I took matters into my own hands, shattered his mask, escaped the 5th dimension, and totaled his multi-million-dollar street sweeper. They escaped with the red water, and it was up to me to clean up other people's messes. And what a surprise, we're welcome back to another MJ mission. Only this time, Spider-Man is involved with taking down every oh-so-faithful aristocrat to the Mr. Lee Appreciation Society. I always wanted to eliminate all my problems out of thin air with the push of a button, and video games have allowed me to do so. They left behind a red water bomb, and while I usually like blowing shit up, this would cause me to fail the challenge, which I'm sure would be nice for the people who just want to watch the world burn, but if you're into that type of gameplay, just go play Untitled Goose Game. It was now time to fight Mr. Martin Lee. I really need to stop adding the title of Mr. as that's giving him my respect, and I don't give F's to people like him. Although his drip game with that white suit I cannot deny is pure flames. I really should have taken inspiration and thrown on the Future Foundation suit after this fight, but I didn't big brain hard enough and my IQ probably leaves a lot to be desired. I don't actually know what it is. He mentioned that nothing could hurt him while he was giving my face some new tattoos, but I like proving everybody wrong and electrocuted him. A fight in which the loser was killed. Rest in peace, the skin-marked Mr. Negative. New York is the city that never sleeps, and it hasn't even been an hour since the debacle with the drip man himself before prison riots broke out at Rikers. What this means is a bunch of fools wearing orange are running around, and some of them are equipped with rocket launchers. Who in their right mind decides that fucking rocket launchers of all weapons is appropriate for a prison. Common sense isn't really so common nowadays. Anyone standing around in prison orange got their ass beat like a Cherokee drum, and I essentially diverted the worst of it on my own. It was outrageous, but we got it done. The electrician felt like his pay wasn't up to standard and decided to call in some buddies for a little persuasion. Not 4, no, not even 6, but 5 of the worst war criminals that ever stepped foot in New York City were banded together, all united under one more war criminal, so it was 6 in the end. It's quite a sinister group. A name for these guys should be created. If you have any ideas, let me know in the comments. They threw me off a building to establish dominance and unleashed an epidemic thanks to the red water. So to recap, we have every prisoner from Rikers in the raft out in Manhattan, 6 prolific jokesters plotting some highly illicit shit to take the W, a widespread disease infesting the populace, and the only one who can mend all of that is the man who only has 192 functioning bones in his body. I should point out that Avengers Tower is in this game. Where in the blue hell is Iron Man throughout all of this? Or anybody on the Avengers for that matter? It's not like they're a small land party. I tracked the red water back to Doc Ock's lair. As an outsider, I've always wanted to know his perspective on intelligence. Turns out he likes blowing shit up and making my day even worse courtesy of the flying plot hole himself, the Vulture. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch Morbius. Actually, do not go watch Morbius. The morbid memes become a lot less funny after you watch it. Vulture and Electro have shifted to Plan B. As a side note, if there ever was a Plan B, it would be these two. Maxie here claims to desire to be made of pure energy, yet is the buzzkill of the party, while Adrian Toombs is just worse than an airport tuna sandwich. There's a reason why 2 solo acts hardly work as a tag team, lest we look at Triple H and Stone Cold Steve Austin in 2001 as part of the 2-man power trip. If they could just stand in my shoes for just a moment, they'd know how much of a drag it is to see them. For a run where you only got 1 shot to get to the end of the game, it's quite fearful for me when the minigame called The Floor is Lava is introduced. I understand that it's not literally lava, but rising acidic poison is a good alternative. Never mind the giant bottomless pit that I almost fell down on numerous occasions. Oh, and the giant scorpion tails that remind me too much of tentacles rolling around at the speed of sound. I had places to go, but the only color of the rainbow to follow was green, and by extension orange once we got to the dreamscape. At this point, I'm just gonna consider everything here black magic fuckery, since I don't even know what's real, like it even matters. All I know is that beating Scorpion's ass was a satisfaction only matched by electrocuting Martin Lee. My days of not taking this man seriously are certainly coming to a middle. If I'm being honest for a second, this mission was arguably the hardest to get through as Spider-Man. The constant nagging in the back of my mind that one slip up and you lose it all made the anxiety fly through the roof. We cured the Scorpion's poison, and I needed an outlet for my anxiety and rage. Throwing a couple of guys off the side of a building did more than therapy ever could. I am a sane man, though I might go batshit crazy if I have to deal with one more side quest as a helpless civilian, rummaging health centers for amoxicillin in no man's land, and then an adventure with the fucking Rhino. All anyone has to do is take one good look at this guy and figure out the reason why everybody talks about him. I don't make the rules. Back as Spider-Man, Scorpion and Rhino were raiding Oscorp relief centers, stealing and destroying anything and everything they could find. I rather like being able to breathe properly, minimally feel hunger, and not complain about my teeth hurting, so it was on to shove some of their teeth down their throat. The banter between the three while boxes were flying and corrosive substances being flung my way made this battle a hell of a lot more entertaining than the Plan B show from a little while ago. I do appreciate when the tag team starts babbling amongst each other, as that distracts them from the mission at hand. They had every intention to kill me, but I missed the part where that's my problem. At one point, Rhino straight up threw a boulder in Scorpion's face, and I got many chuckles from that, so thank you, Alexi. When all was said and done, I locked these two goons in a small room to go through couples counseling. Maybe instead of killing me, they'll end up killing each other. Either way, I wasn't involved in their escapades. Silver Sable's henchmen have been bothering me since the halfway point in the game, and I've had just about enough of their crap. Let's just say the violence got turned up to 11. I flung this dude neck first off his jetpack, I curb stomped this fool in the air, and I'm pretty sure I gave the world's first burning concussion. Probably not the first, actually, because humans suck and the world is sick, and yes, by proxy, I just insulted myself, but I pull self-depreciating humor out of my ass on a daily basis. Guess the silver badass had enough of my crap and threatened to kill me me if I wasn't persuasive enough. Is it a bad time to tell her that I'm totally into this kind of shit? Actually, never mind. We can have this discussion later. Mr. Negative was playing his black magic games again, and Spider-Man's charisma check rolled a solid 5. He got virtually nowhere. I think he just pissed Martin Lee off more than anything, and we began trading fisticuffs once again. To this day, I still did not learn to equip the Future Foundation suit to match his Guys in White persona, and you can all ravage me in the comments for it. I don't even care at this point. If you had told me 4 years ago that out of every antithesis that Spider-Man fought, that Mr. Negative had the single best fight in the entire game, I would have called you a liar. With villains like Doc Ock, Rhino, and Electro running around, I'd have figured one of them would have taken the crown. Color me surprised when Mr. No Colors himself was the winner. With 1 health left, I managed to scrape through this fight by the skin of my teeth. Otto Octavius absolutely obliterated Spider-Man. The only reason that happened was because it was a cutscene and I wasn't in control. Every single time something bad happens in a video game, it's never when I'm in control. Silver saved Peter from falling comatose. He's more stubborn than a brick wall, however, and marched right out of Feast to conduct a plan. The game itself broke the immersion entirely, as I walked in with the Spider-Man 2099 suit, but miraculously changed to the advanced suit in the span of a few seconds. Complete buzzkill, but it is what it is, and I crafted another suit entirely to prevent myself from getting impaled by Docky Boy's tentacles. You will find that that statement aged like milk, as the final fiasco with Dr. Otto Octavius was among us. It was a lot of swinging back and forth, dodging thrown debris and nightmare tentacles, and he even got me down to 1 HP fairly quickly in this fight and scared the ever-living hell out of me. The pressure was intense. One more wrong move and this entire challenge would collapse at the very end of the game, but I brought out every pro gamer move I knew, drank my G Fuel to get the reflexes instantaneous, and played video games like I've never played video games before. The power of friendship, family, and anime was on my side, while Aki Boy here only had 3 legs left. Fighting on the side of the building was very badass, very emotional, and very dangerous, and while there wasn't a health bar, by the end of it I could tell I was on 1 HP once again. I really gotta stop testing my luck in these boss fights. By no more than a hair, I got through the fight with Doc Ock, the anti-serum was mine, Peter's lost a lot of things in his life, and I beat Spider-Man with only 1 life and no healing. Before you hop out of here, just wanted to say thank you to everybody who subscribed to the channel recently. We just passed over 9,000 subs a few days ago at the time of this video's upload, and I can't thank you all enough. A lot of projects are in the works, and I can't wait for you all to see what I've got planned. If you enjoyed this video, consider leaving it a like, or if you hated it, leave it a dislike. And if you haven't already, and you like what you see on the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. Helps me out a ton. Shoutouts to all my brand new Patreon supporters for making videos like this one possible. Have a good one. Peace out.